Today we're doing the week 12 chemistry AMS quiz, so let's start. Why are alloys used instead of pure metals? It's because the only obvious answer would be here, because they have more desired properties that are lacked in pure metals. This one's pretty obvious, to be fair. Moving on. Okay, so an aluminium alloy is used instead of a pure aluminium in aircrafts. Why are aluminium alloys used? Now, this you don't even need to know the reason. It's definitely because they're stronger. But you don't even need to know the reason. More abundant? Of course not. It's an alloy. Alloys aren't even found in nature. Alloys have a lower melting point? No. You make them an alloy so you can increase their melting point. More reactive? Also no. So this is the only one that makes sense. So, list what are general properties of transition metals. They are denser than other metals. Yes, they have a higher density. Memorize this. It's one of their properties. They have more than one oxidation state. This is literally what makes them transition metals. They have catalytic properties. They have a lower melting point. No. And they only form white compounds. Also no. Moving on. An alloy is a solution of a metal with other metals or non-metals. Which of the following best describes the structure of an alloy? So, the structure of an alloy could be one of two things. It could be something like this. This would be an alloy. Or it could be let me draw the second metal as red. This is a big place. I'm not drawing really carefully. This is a different type of alloy. This is the one where it can either replace some of the host metals, as we can see here, or it can occupy the spaces between them, like here. Moving on. Okay, so which of the following are ores where iron are extracted from? Either magnetite or hematite. These are the only two ores that you can find iron from. Moving on. Okay, when you have a blast furnace, you need air, specifically hot air, the iron ore, magnetite or hematite, coke, which is a carbon compound, like coal, but more pure, and limestone. We don't need molten iron. We're trying to make iron. Okay, which of the following are reactions that normally take place in a blast furnace? This one, it's to make the carbon dioxide from the coke. Then you have to oxidize. Wait, never mind, the oxidation isn't here. It's not one of these. There's also another step where it's CO2 plus C gives you 2CO. That's when you oxidize the carbon. Then you can either use one of these two ores to produce these products, and then this is for the slug, or what makes it pig iron, the limestone and the whatever is used here. Moving on. Which are the conditions of rusting? Of course, we need a high temperature and the presence of a salt. Moving on. Okay, so uses of copper are in electric cables. In alloys, we mix them with other metals, like, for example, gold. And ornamental works, we use them like when we want to decorate things. Moving on. Calcium obviously gives brick red. Memorize the flame tests, they're in the notes. Hydrocarbons are made out of carbon and hydrogen. This is very obvious, it's in the name. Alkanes are CnH2 plus 2, and this is just you substitute the numbers into the equation. We've done this like 3 weeks in a row. It's really easy. Alkenes, same thing, CnH2n, and then substitute for 2 carbons. Okay, this question, I don't know why it's telling me it's wrong, even though I wrote the exact same answer as the mark scheme, but sure. Which of the following are mixed with hematite? We need to mix before the on top. When you see the word on top, it's hematite or magnetite, coke, and limestone. Then you add from the bottom the hot air, and then you make the carbon dioxide by C plus O2 gives you CO2. Then, like I said, you have to reduce it to make 2CO, and then the reactions with the carbon monoxide are with the ores, and then you get your products, and then you're left with the calcium carbonate, which is the limestone. It reacts with the impurities formed in SiO2. They react with the impurity SiO2 to form slag, which is the parts we don't want. So, which is CaSiO3. And the main impurity in pig iron is carbon. We do not need carbon in our iron, so we get rid of it, but yeah. Okay, so the metal to be protected, when you want to connect it to a more reactive, sacrificial protection, remember it, as in something is getting sacrificed. To be protected, coated is electroplating. And whenever you see zinc, it's either zinc coating or galvanizing. Moving on. Which of the following is true about transition metals? We already saw a question like this. They have more than one oxidation state, they form colored compounds, and they have catalytic properties. Moving on. Okay, whenever you see soft and low density, it's an alkali metal, which is group 1 metal. Moving on. Okay, here we have potassium. When it reacts with oxygen, it forms 2K2O. Magnesium, when it reacts with oxygen, 2MgO. This is practically asking you just write down the oxide of the metals. Okay, so when they gave you these two products and they asked you form the product, they gave you the two reactants, form the product, it's gonna be 2NaOH, which means you just practically combined everything here. You wrote Na, O, and H in one, and then added the two to balance. That's it, and Na2H is aqueous. Here, I wrote everything right other than, this one I solved right. 2 calcium plus oxide plus oxygen forms the oxide again. They're just asking for the oxide. Here it's an alloy because you have different elements. This is both interspatial and the one where it's replacing. Whenever you want to refine carbon, at the anode we have impure, and at the cathode we want the pure, and the electrolyte is always the solution. But the impure is on the anode and the pure is on the cathode, because the substance on the anode goes to the cathode. Your flame test is gonna be lithium forms a red flame, potassium forms a lilac, sodium forms yellow. Memorize them. Here, this question, we've seen it like a million times. This is an addition because we're breaking the double bond. It's gonna form an alkane, which is because you're adding. This type of addition is called hydrogenation, where you're adding hydrogen. So you're gonna add H2 to form this, which is an alkane, and it's saturated because it's an alkane. The reactant that turns ethene to ethanol is steam. And here you're substituting, so you're gonna add the Cl's to be at the sides, because you're breaking this bond to put them here. And the unsaturated hydrocarbons are the ones with double bonds. And that's it for this quiz. Hope you understood everything. Have a nice day. Bye.